Today, we're talking about our top five tips for 2025 for you and your worship team.
Chad, number one is...
Number one is schedule out for your team and your set list for this new year. I know a lot of us tend to wait until the last minute to schedule our musicians and what songs we're going to play, but we suggest scheduling out into the first week of the next month. You can always go back and change that, the night before if you feel like you need to, but having that in there to begin with is going to take a lot of burden off your team, make your life so much easier. So we suggest scheduling out in 2025.
Yes, that will definitely help with the burnout potential of your team, which brings us to number two. Acoustic Sessions. We recommend at least once every 6 weeks. What this is going to do is this helps your team take a break, even though most teams don't want a break, but their families at home would love a break. So it allows you as a worship leader to give your team at least once every 6 weeks some rest, to be a part of the congregation, to come to church with their family. This is a time for you as the worship leader to step up as a leader and lead your congregation in acoustic worship and help prevent burnout on your volunteers.
Number three, vocal warm-ups. I know a lot of us tend to just warm up in the car on the way to band rehearsal on Sunday morning. We suggest just going one step further and doing that as a group at the service. It's going to only take a few minutes, but it'll give you a chance to go over parts, make sure that you're healthy when you go out there to sing. And that's going to be so good for the health of the singers, and then also giving you a good in-ear mix because you're going to be able to sing during rehearsal at full volume and hear what's going to sound like. So it's going to be good for the singers, the musicians, and the worship team.
That's great. That brings us to number four. MD.
What is an MD, Jamie?
MD, musical director. A lot of times you'll see them on the side of the stage. Could be a guitar player, could be keys player. They're going to have a microphone. You think they're one of the vocalists, but they're actually talking in times that there's no vocals going on. Or it could be while vocals are going. What that does is it allows the whole band to hear one person in their ears giving points, giving like, hey, here's a break coming up. Don't forget this transition. Gives any cues, maybe what song is coming up and the key that it is. Just a lot of useful things that can be communicated by one voice that's just going to the ears and also to front of house.
Yeah, as a front of house audio engineer, it's super useful for me to just listen to the microphone of the MD. During the service, there's a bunch of people between where I stand and where the band stands. And sometimes I have no idea that something's broken or, there's going to be a change to the order of the songs or anything like that. So I have a way to clearly hear your microphone and know what's going on, and vice versa. I can talk to you, and that just makes things so much easier when it comes to communication when there's a bunch of people in the room.
That's great. And another plus to an MD is for most worship leaders, you're vocally strong. You can communicate with your vocal team really well. Sometimes you struggle communicating what you want to do in a song to your musicians. So this is a great way for you to identify a strong musician in your team and kind of get them some training on what it is to be a good MD. And then that way y'all can meet ahead of the service. You can talk about kind of what the goals are of the flow of worship. That way he can communicate to the band exactly what you're wanting to accomplish on that Sunday morning. It's a great way for both of y'all to kind of share in your strengths.
And number five. For number five, we're going to talk about Reset Song 1. This is so simple, but so many teams don't do this. When you go through rehearsal, you usually rehearse the songs in order, and you end on the last song of the
response song or something. Yeah,
exactly, which is totally different than the first song. Usually it's a different singer, different vibe, different volume. Everything is different. So Reset Song 1 is when you're done going through rehearsal, before you finish, you just do the beginning. Doesn't have to be the whole song, but you just hit the beginning of song 1 so that front of house can get the levels where they need to be, get the effects where they need to be. If someone's going to speak at the beginning of that song, that's a good time for them to practice that real quick and figure out how loud their microphone needs to be. It helps with the lighting cues, everything. It will make sure that you don't have those common mistakes at the beginning of your worship set.
That's great. And I love just that's very practical. But what it also does is, as musicians, it kind of lets everybody know that there's other things going on besides you playing. So, yeah, I know, shocker. But it allows everybody to be like, hey, we need to make sure everyone's ready for this opening song, and everybody's role is important. So in order to get everybody ready, not just the musicians, we need to re-hit and reset song 1.
This has been our five tips for your worship team for 2025.